Welcome to the Empowered Women Life Leaders podcast. I'm your host, Karen Bashford. This podcast is for every woman who has ever felt limited by her past, silenced by trauma, or held back by society's expectations. Each week, we will share powerful stories, expert insights, and practical tools to help you become the leader of your own life. This week, I'm going to talk about a topic that I might have mentioned previously, but I don't often give the story behind how the inner child and my viewpoint on the inner child come about. It's fascinating to me how out of the blue she just happened, that it was a means of allowing clients to connect with themselves in ways that perhaps they've never done before. So let me explain a bit more. I'm a qualified hypnotherapist and NLP practitioner. I'm also a Reiki master, and I've also done other courses. But the inner child is something that came to me during a client session. The particular lady concerned had come to me because she needed to present in a group of people, and that was the one thing she was unable to do. She would start to talk and then literally just couldn't speak. She was incapable of carrying on with presentation. She could talk to somebody on a one-to-one basis, but as soon as it was a presentation in a small group, or even a large group for that matter, she just couldn't do it. So she'd come to me for a session, and I was very confident that I could help her. However, there was something that she was hiding, or rather, wasn't so much hiding, she wasn't aware of it, and nor was I at the time. However, with hindsight, I now know what was going on. But it didn't matter how much I helped her to get into that place where she was comfortable presenting to a group of people. She was really, really resistant. And I'm sort of sitting there thinking, well, I've tried everything I know. I've tried actual physical suggestion through hypnosis. I've tried the NLP of getting her to see things differently and such like. It just was not working. And I was sitting there with her thinking, this is not good. So what can I do? And as most of you will probably know, or if you know me, I very much believe that we can obtain answers through our intuition, our subconscious, and connecting to universal consciousness. So I'm sitting there thinking, what do I do? How am I going to help her? So that was the thought that came into mind. I just put out the request, can you tell me what I need to do to help her? And it's almost as if instantly this voice come into my head. But the thing about it wasn't my critic. It wasn't anything to do with me as a person. It was external to me. It was a voice that come from external to me. It's almost like this very gentle, outer world voice come in and said, take her to meet her inner child. And it's like, yeah, and how do I do that? And it was a case of, well, just introduce her. Well, that's really helpful. How do I do that? And she was very surprisingly open to my suggestion that perhaps she might like to meet her inner child. And I decided the inner child had to be in her heart, simply because if you consider our soul is part of us, and once our heart stops beating, we die. So the soul leaves us. So it seemed a good point to suggest that, okay, let's meet your inner child. She's in your heart. And she's sort of, you could see her hesitating. What the devil is Karen on about now? You could see the thoughts going through her mind. And it was like, well, just imagine there's this little girl in your heart and you can meet her. You can even invite her out. What would that mean to you? And she did. She invited her little girl out. And I simply said to her, you go and have a conversation with her. Give her a hug. Tell her how much you love her. And hear her say to you, I love you. And then go and have a conversation with her. And she did. I just sat there and watched her face. I asked her a couple of questions just to make sure she was okay, but I could see she was. She'd relaxed. It was almost as if that connection had given her permission to let go and just be in that moment. So there she was, sitting on my settee. And there she sat from probably about 7:30 until nearly 11 o'clock. I didn't have the heart to disturb her. Her face said it all. It was as if she was connected to something I couldn't see. I could sense there was something going on. Her body language said there was something going on. Her face said there was, but I couldn't pick up on it. So I just let her sit. I had nothing else to do. I could sit and make notes. I was doing other things. I even got up a couple of times and got myself a drink. And she just sat on my settee, doing whatever she was doing, perfectly at peace. But about 11 o'clock, I said, I think you might need to go home. I don't mind you staying overnight, but I really think you need to go home. And she's got up from the settee, got herself organised, and I simply asked what was going on. And she said to me, I've been listening to the most angelic music I've ever heard. That's all she had done in that time. And that's how the inner child, your soul, has become part of what I work with clients. And if you want to actually have a recording for yourself, there is one on my website. If you go to karenbashford.com /resources and you look for the meditation of the inner child, you can download that and you can listen to it and meet your own inner child. Now, for me, as I said, the inner child is the soul. And the soul is part of you. It's been with you through every generation, through every experience you've had, through every life you've had, whether you believe in reincarnation or not, or whether it's something that is so alien to you it's not possible. It does not matter. Your inner child, that little girl or boy, if you happen to be a man listening, is your guide. It's the one thing, one being that loves you totally and absolutely unconditionally. She's there to support you, to give you answers, to demonstrate to you what love is. And she knows everything you've been through life, every experience you've had. And she can help you get answers that perhaps you don't want to know, that you don't want to face. But she can give you the answers without necessarily knowing what really happened. Because she can have that information, but you don't need it. So the benefit of connecting with your inner child means, surprisingly enough, curiosity. Being curious of what possibilities there are to help you grow and expand, to help you release the past, and to perhaps face things that you weren't prepared to face or didn't know about. She can help you with that. But one of the things I noticed about clients connecting with their inner child is how playful they become. I had one young lady I worked with, the inner child come into the session. And after the session, she was a lot happier. She was more open to trying different things. And she shared with me once a situation whereby she was at a set of traffic lights and there was this police officer parked next to her or waiting to go through the traffic lights. And he said something to her, and I'm only repeating what I can remember. And he said something to her, and she replied, but it was such a playful reply that she somewhat shocked the officer and herself. And I can remember her telling me she was actually a good friend. And we had such a laugh over it because it wasn't something that she would normally do. She's normally not well behaved, but she's not the kind of person that would necessarily joke with a police officer. Let's put it that way. But we had ourselves in fits of laughter. I think it was more because of the way she described it. I can't remember the full facts because this was such a long time ago. But it was the fact that she was willing to be playful with a police officer. For somebody who wasn't fearful of police, but was very respectful, it was so unlike her. So the inner child will bring out that playful, curious side that loves to have fun and laughter. The inner child will teach you to communicate with yourself. You can hear those quiet whispers of your intuition with the inner child. You can ask the inner child questions and receive answers. You can use it during a meditation so that you can actually connect with her and just receive guidance from her. She knows what you're capable of, just as much as she knows what you've been through. So she can help you heal yourself, but she can also help you go forward in a way that serves you without all the stumbling blocks along the way. So she's a guide, basically. She can help you understand and know yourself far, far better. One of the things I've noticed when I've worked with clients and used the inner child, they tend to go to the inner child for themselves. It's a way of connecting to yourself to find the answers that you need. And it's such an easy and gentle way. Your inner child, like your intuition, is not going to lie to you. So you know that you can trust the answers you receive when you've connected with your inner child. The inner child makes you feel safe. And for me, being safe is more important, I think, than anything else. And I was having a conversation with somebody the other day. Surprisingly enough, I do take myself for therapy as well. And I've been feeling the need to go for therapy. In my case, it's been somebody who deals with hypnotherapy. Because there's been these underlying signs that something is off, that I'm missing something, that something isn't quite as it needs to be. And I listen. I really do listen to my own intuition, to my inner child, to the external guidance I receive. I class them as angels, guides, spirits, whatever I need to know, the answer will be given or guidance will be given. So there's me with a hypnotherapist the other week, working with her. And one of the things we realized that shifted something within me was the fact that going to Egypt did not worry me. There was no fear. There was no concern. It was just excitement. And this knowledge that I was going to feel safe, and I was going to be safe. There was nothing, no early warnings to say that I wasn't safe. You know, that feeling you get in your stomach sometimes if something's off and you're unsure. I didn't have any of that. I just knew going to Egypt was going to leave me at peace with myself. The same with going to Cyprus to decide whether that was where I wanted to live. There was no worry there. The thought of getting in a car and driving 60 kilometres, having arrived at 1 o'clock in the morning, didn't worry me. In a place I'd never been to before, there was nothing to make me feel unsafe. And yet, interestingly, I was being guided that something was off, something was making me feel unsafe. And it was an interesting conversation. We went round in circles at times, but each circle almost completed part of the journey of where I needed to be to get the answer I needed. So by the end of the session, 90 minutes, I'd come to realize I was feeling unsafe because I'd booked a trip to Sicily for a friend's wedding, but it was something that I didn't really have much control over, in the sense of I had to book it literally within less than half an hour before I went on a call. And if I didn't book it then, there was the potential that I would not be able to get the hotel room or the flights that I needed. So I went on the link to the website that gave the hotel details. I found one that was suitable. I didn't really have much chance to check it out. All I know is it was in the right location. It looked clean. It was a reasonable price, and it could do the dates that I wanted. And the great thing about it is I could alter or I could cancel prior to the actual holiday taking place if I found that it was not suitable for what I needed. So that was fine. That was done. Although I hadn't checked out exactly where it was. All I knew is it was in the village that it needed to be in for me to get to my friend's church. And then from the church, I'd be taken to the reception. And then from the reception, I'd be brought back to the village, to my hotel. That was fine. No problem there. The other part was the actual booking of the flights. Now, because I had so little time, and I tend to use a travel counsellor simply because they make it easier. And because I was booking the hotel and the flights separate, I knew that their cover would look after me if anything went wrong. Even though I'd booked it separate, I knew that I could reach out to the travel counsellor and say, I have a problem. Or if there was any problems with the flights, I knew that I could reach out to her. So I handed the flights over to her, just specifying that I wanted to fly out on these dates. I had to land back in either at Gatwick or Heathrow, but I also had to leave from Gatwick or Heathrow. Otherwise, it was going to be a bit of a problem because I have to drive to get to the airport. Going by train from where I live, at the time of day that I would be travelling, it's not practical. In fact, I was surprised to discover that I'd actually agreed a flight that meant I had to be at Heathrow at 5 o'clock in the morning. Yikes. That means I have to leave my home at 4. Wasn't planning that, but hey. But the great thing about it is she'd managed to get the flights from Heathrow for me, the flight back into Heathrow for me, and for the dates that I wanted to fly. 5 o'clock in the morning, checking in. It was a bit early, but hey, it means the flight's at 7, which means that I can get to Sicily by midday. That gives me even travelling time to get to the village itself. It still gives me an afternoon and evening at the place, so I can explore a bit. And that's me all over. And then the wedding. And then I've got the Saturday, Sunday, and most of Monday before I have to fly back. So that means I've got 2.5 days to explore the area. That's great. But the reason I'm sharing this is because it's highlighting why I didn't feel safe. The thought of flying to Sicily, even though everything was booked in, and I knew my friend would make sure that I was safe when I got there, was still making me feel unsafe. And my little gal made me aware of the fact that there was something going on that was worrying me, but I couldn't figure it out until I had the session with the hypnotherapist. And it was the realization that I need structure. I need to spend some time looking at where I'm flying to, what's in the area, how I can move around, and also where my friend's wedding is and what I can do with my time while I'm over there. I haven't taken that time to do that, but I also know the instant I do that, I will feel safe. But I wouldn't have known that. All I knew was my little girl was trying to warn me through a sensation I was getting in my body. that was indicating something was out of balance. So it's so important that you connect with your inner child, your little gal, because she will guide you. She will support you. She will lead you to where you need to be to understand. And yes, she will ensure that you feel safe. And if you don't, she'll let you know why. Might take you a bit of time like it did with me, but that doesn't matter. She will let you know you're safe or when you're not. Or when something's not quite right for you, she'll guide you and let you know. Her guidance is gentle. There's no yelling at you, nothing like that. It's just very gentle, bringing into your awareness things that perhaps you aren't picking up on yourself. And when I say picking up on, I mean there's a sensation in your body, or there's those words that you hear in your mind that don't seem to come from you, but come external. And that can be your intuition. Your soul can communicate through your intuition. But she's there to help you. And if you learn to ask her the questions, you can gain the answers. And to do that, all you need to do is to quieten your mind and just imagine there's this beautiful little girl in your heart. And invite her out and let her have a cuddle. And tell her how much you love her. The women I work with, and even a few men that I've worked with, meeting their inner child, their soul, has caused them to cry. It's amazing how much actually telling your inner child that you love her and hear her saying to you that she loves you changes so much. It allows you to realize that you are loved. And quite often as women, we frequently don't think we're loved. I, for one, didn't, because I'd never heard the words I love you, and I hadn't been hugged. That's probably why I decided that the inner child needs to be hugged and told she's loved as much as she needs to tell you. Because that's something as human beings we need. And if we can't get it physically, we can certainly get it from ourselves, in our hearts, through our inner child, through our soul. I tell you what, she's also very good at talking back. She will tell you off if she needs to. Not nastily, but she'll tell you off. And most of my clients have said that after working with me and their inner child, they hear her communicating with them. Not because they've chosen to connect with her, because they've created that relationship with her that allows them to actually communicate with her, even on the subconscious level. They might not be aware they're thinking of her, but suddenly she's talking to them, she's guiding them, or she's pointing out things that perhaps they need to be aware of. The inner child has the ultimate knowledge about you. She's your soul, or he's your soul. Knows what you're capable of achieving. She knows what's holding you back, what's stopping you. She also knows what you've been through and what you need to change and release. whether from this lifetime or a past lifetime. It does not matter. She can give you the guidance, the love and support you need to improve your life. So listen to your inner child. Go to my website, download the inner child meditation, meet her and learn from her how much you're loved, how special you are. And let her be the one that guides you, points you in the right direction, supports you, but most of all is with you all the time. So you're never alone. Thank you for listening. And if you have any questions, please comment, please ask. I'm always happy to respond. And in the meantime, I wish you well, and I look forward to speaking with you again. Bye for now.